If you're still relying only on slow, cold compost piles and waiting 6 months for something halfway broken down, you're leaving serious microbial power on the table. I've tested traditional compost side by side with controlled ferments in raised beds, in-ground gardens, and even in biologically active hydroponic systems. The difference in plant response isn't subtle. Fermented compost, what I call humus compost, wakes soil up fast. And before anyone panics about the word ferment, this isn't about rotting food scraps in a bucket and hoping for the best. This is controlled, oxygen-managed, microbially dominant fermentation that produces a dense, stable, biologically active amendment. If you're serious about soil biology, subscribe now, because this is where gardening stops being casual and starts being deliberate. The problem with standard compost is that it's often biologically weak. Most backyard compost piles never reach consistent thermophilic temperatures. They're turned irregularly, moisture fluctuates, and microbial diversity ends up narrow. The finished product looks dark and crumbly, but biologically it's not always impressive. In one test bed, I incorporated 5 kilograms per square meter of standard mature compost into early spring soil. In another identical bed, I used 3 kilograms per square meter of fermented humus compost. Within 4 weeks, the fermented bed showed noticeably stronger early growth in lettuce and brassicas. Soil respiration readings were higher, earthworm activity increased faster. It wasn't about nutrients, it was about microbial intensity. Humus compost works because fermentation shifts the biology before it hits the soil. Traditional compost relies on aerobic decomposition over time. Fermentation uses controlled anaerobic and facultative microbes to pre-digest material rapidly, creating organic acids, enzymes, and microbial metabolites that jumpstart soil processes. The key is balance. Uncontrolled anaerobic rot smells foul and creates phytotoxic compounds. Proper fermentation smells sour-sweet, not putrid. That distinction matters. My base formula starts with chopped plant matter, kitchen vegetable scraps, fresh green weeds before seeding, and crushed leaves. For every 10 kilograms of green material, I mix in about 2 kilograms of carbon-rich material, like shredded cardboard or dry leaves, to prevent excessive moisture. Then I add 500 grams of mature compost as a microbial inoculant and about 200 milliliters of diluted molasses in 5 liters of water to feed microbial activity. Everything is mixed thoroughly, packed tightly into a sealed container or heavy-duty bag to remove excess oxygen, and left to ferment for 10 to 14 days depending on temperature. In warm conditions around 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, fermentation moves quickly. In cooler climates, it can take 3 weeks. When done correctly, the material softens, smells mildly acidic like pickled vegetables, and shows no signs of black slime or foul odor. That's humus compost in its concentrated form. This isn't compost tea, and it isn't bokashi exactly, but it borrows from both. Many gardeners confuse fermentation methods. Bokashi uses bran inoculated with specific microbes, often lactobacillus dominant. Compost tea extracts microbes into water for immediate application. Humus compost sits between those approaches. It's a fermented organic mass that is later integrated into soil, where aerobic organisms take over and complete the breakdown. That transition phase is where the magic happens. When I incorporate fermented compost into raised beds, I never leave it exposed. For a standard 4 by 8 foot bed, I spread about 2 to 3 kilograms evenly and mix it into the top 10 centimeters of soil at least 2 weeks before planting. That buffer period allows aerobic microbes to rebalance the system and prevents root contact with overly acidic pockets. The early plant response is where you notice the difference. In tomato trials, beds amended with humus compost 2 weeks prior to transplanting showed stronger root mass within 30 days compared to beds amended with traditional compost alone. The plants weren't taller immediately, but stems thickened faster and leaf color deepened earlier. In leafy greens, particularly spinach and arugula, germination appeared more uniform in fermented amended soil. That's likely due to improved microbial signaling and nutrient mineralization, not because fermentation adds massive nutrients. I've also used diluted leachate from properly fermented compost, filtered and heavily diluted at roughly 1:50 with water, as a soil drench around established plants. The response is subtle but noticeable. Improved vigor within a week. Hydroponic growers need to tread carefully but shouldn't ignore this. Directly adding fermented compost to hydroponic reservoirs is reckless. It will clog systems and destabilize pH. But in hybrid systems, like cocoa coir beds fed with biologically active nutrient solutions, filtered and stabilized extracts from fermented compost can enhance microbial diversity. In one semi-hydro setup growing peppers in cocoa, I applied a highly filtered, aerated fermented extract at 100 milliliters per 20-liter reservoir after pH stabilization. The key was constant monitoring. The result was stronger root hair development without nutrient solution instability. Fermentation is powerful, but only if controlled. Let's correct a common fear. Fermentation does not mean harmful pathogens if done properly. Many gardeners avoid fermentation because they associate it with unsafe decomposition. The reality is that controlled fermentation, especially when followed by soil integration and aerobic exposure, can suppress pathogens through competitive exclusion. In my own trials, beds amended with humus compost showed fewer early damping off issues compared to beds receiving raw kitchen scraps buried directly. That's not accidental. Fermentation stabilizes volatile compounds before they hit the soil. The trade-off is management. You must control moisture and oxygen. Too wet and you create rot. Too dry and fermentation stalls. The biggest benefit isn't nutrients, it's microbial acceleration. Standard compost eventually builds soil. Fermented compost accelerates the process. It introduces partially broken down organic matter that microbes rapidly consume, boosting soil respiration and nutrient cycling. After 2 full growing seasons incorporating humus compost at moderate rates, never more than 3 kilograms per square meter per cycle, I observed improved soil aggregation and reduced crusting. Organic matter levels stabilized. Crop yields increased steadily, especially in heavy feeders like squash and peppers. It's not a miracle input, it's a biological catalyst. There are limits, and ignoring them causes problems. Applying fermented compost directly at planting without buffering time can cause root stress. The acidity must dissipate. I always allow at least 10 to 14 days between soil incorporation and transplanting. In already waterlogged soils, fermentation amendments can exacerbate anaerobic conditions if drainage isn't addressed. Soil structure comes first. Biology follows structure. This method rewards growers who pay attention. If your soil feels sluggish, this may be what it's missing. When soil becomes compacted, lifeless, and slow to warm in spring, nutrients aren't always the issue. Biology is. Humus compost reintroduces intensity into the microbial ecosystem. Used strategically, early spring and mid-season between crop rotations, it can maintain soil vitality without relying heavily on synthetic inputs. It's not forbidden because it doesn't work. It's forbidden because it requires more awareness than simply tossing scraps in a pile and waiting. Serious growers treat soil as a living system, not a dumping ground. Fermentation, when controlled, is one of the most powerful tools for accelerating soil recovery and boosting crop performance without chemical dependence. If this approach challenged how you think about compost, subscribe to the channel and share this video with another grower who's ready to move beyond slow, passive soil building. The better we understand microbial processes, the better food we grow. And that's the foundation of everything we do here.